public intranet sites and, wank over kiddie porn, whatever the fuck else you like to do. And 9/11 Truth Movement, if you haven't noticed, he doesn't support you. He doesn't support the impeachment of Dick Cheney or of George Bush. Have a look at the way he votes, for God's sake, before you support a guy who doesn't stand by anything that you've got to say. Your representative would be Dennis Kucinich, who actually wants to impeach those two inhuman pieces of scum.
Wow. Ow! Wow! Warren, man, holy fuck, that was beautiful. Oh man, that was beautiful. Oh God, that was so beautiful. You know what? You're absolutely true. You were absolutely true. These Ron Paul, these Paul-tards have completely fucking destroyed Ron Paul. And now, my message to Ron Paul is this. Now, Dr. Paul, I know you're listening. I know you have your goons scouring the internet and scouring YouTube for, to pick out bits and pieces of information. So I know you're listening. I know that there's a chance you're going to get some of this. Let me tell you something. Well, number one, I'm not going to vote for you. I already have my pick and sight, so I'm not going to vote for you. Don't take that personally. I just don't believe. I don't believe that half the stuff that you say, I don't believe in at all. Okay, the other half of the things that you say, I don't think you can pull off. Okay, because it's just impossible. Like, for example, you're saying that you want to abolish the IRS. You know that you just can't go into office and just, rip up the booklet on the IRS and throw it in the garbage. That's just impossible and insane and dangerous. Pulling the troops out of Iraq, that has to be the stupidest thing that you could ever say, that you're just going to abruptly pull the troops out of Iraq. And I'm glad to see that you're saying, well, it's going to take 8-9 months. It's going to take a year to do. All right, it's a backpedal, but it's cool. It's cool. You fucked up. You suddenly come to light, but that's okay. Okay, but you scare me. But however, you do have a chance at becoming president, because you're speaking with honesty. You're speaking from your heart, which is what is appealing to a lot of people. What you need to do, now this is my advice for me. I'm not a doctor. I don't have your intellect. I'm not as smart as you. I've never been a politician for 30 years. I'm not on the Armed Services Committee or any of that stuff. I'm just a regular guy with a regular job that makes regular money. So I'm just like 80% of the rest of the Americans. But these 80% of the Americans are the ones that are going to vote for you. What you need to do, this is my advice to you, is you got to change your image. First thing you got to do is you got to disassociate yourself from the Ron Paul-tards. You need to do is go out on TV and you pretty much just tell them in a nice way to stay the fuck away from you and just stop with their nonsense, because they're making you look really, really, really bad. Okay, they're destroying you. Okay, you have to come to a realization of what's going on in Iraq, and you can't just pull the troops out. You have to start sitting there, instead of saying, I want to take the troops home. 70% of the Americans want the troops home. Let me tell you something where you're wrong about that, Dr. Paul. 70% of the Americans do not want the troops home. 100% of the Americans want the troops home. That's a fact. 70% of the Americans want the troops home when the time is right. They want the troops home as fast as possible, but we're not willing to lose a war over it and just leave Iraq and let those poor Iraqis suffer to their own demise. You can say these all weapons of mass destruction and Bush lied and all this other nonsense, but the point is, we're there and it's got to be fixed. Somebody's got to fix it. We have to fix it. You pull the troops out, it's I can't even explain how bad it will be. Okay, so that's, you scare me on that too. Okay, you need to come to a more of a reality about with the troops and the Iraqis. Another thing you need to do is, a lot of your supporters aren't very well educated. Okay, the demographics of your supporters are potheads, and I know the potheads because that ad that was ran in High Times. You've never disassociated yourself with that ad. I know you didn't put that ad in High Times. The one that said vote Ron Paul and the war on drugs. Okay, we'll get to that, the war on drugs, in a minute, because I have a bone to pick with you that. You got the demographics of your supporters are drug abusers. Just by talking to them, I don't know how many of them went past the 9th grade. And and this being probably the only important thing that they've ever done in their life, support a candidate. It just kind of shows you that the kind of people that you have. These are your groupies. These are the people that are spreading your message. Are people that are only voting for you because you're going out, you're telling people that you support the Constitution. Let me tell you something, Dr. Paul. Everybody supports the Constitution. Rudy Giuliani supports the Constitution. Fred Thompson supports the Constitution. Hillary Clinton supports the Constitution. They all support the Constitution. They're all patriots. I mean, if you really want to get technical, Hitler and Mussolini were patriots too. So you got to stop with that I'm a patriot, I believe in the Constitution bullshit. Because it's all bullshit. Regular people aren't buying it. The only people that are buying it are your supporters. And let me tell you why your supporters are going with that vote for Ron Paul because he believes in the Constitution's crap. Number one, none of them want to pay taxes. They all think that you're going to abolish the IRS, and they're coming up with this. They're led to believe. They actually believe that paying taxes is unconstitutional. I mean, think about how stupid that is. Okay, they think that you're going to end the war on drugs, and they're going to be able to go to any convenience store and buy a bag of weed. Okay, think about how stupid that would be. That kids on the way to school are going to be able to stop off at the convenience store and buy a bag of weed before class. I'm not really sure you're really thinking this through. I'm not saying that this is what you mean. What I'm saying is this is the message that your followers are believing. Okay? They believe that once they're elected, they're not going to have to serve the country because they're all pussies. They don't have the balls to. That they're going to be able to drive up to a gas station, say, fill her up, get a Pepsi, pack of smokes, a bag of weed, and then leave, and then go to school with that. And they're not going to have to pay any taxes, any income tax. They are led to believe that 100% of the income tax revenue goes directly to paying the interest. And you and I know that's a lot of bullshit. Because I've seen the pie charts. I know that 50% of my income tax goes directly to the military. I know that. I do my taxes every year. And I see the pie charts that come with the books that say where your tax money went last year. So what you have to do is this. You have to either disassociate yourself with those retards, those rejects, those animals, because they're all fucking animals. Okay? Excuse me. And you have to start broadcasting a better message. You got to build up your image a little bit. You got to stop with this nonsense. You got to stop with, I'm going to, get supporters from the underdog and build up from that. Because they're rooting you. They go to the straw polls, they buy 50, 60 votes, and they all vote under 50 or 60 different names. And then they run around, Ron Paul won the straw poll. No, Ron Paul didn't win the straw poll. Ron Paul's supporters fudged the straw polls. Okay? So, you need to think about this, Dr. Paul. And, I know I'm going to get a lot of backslash. Your supporters are now going to tell me what a douchebag I am. They're going to tell me what a scumbag I am. They're going to tell me how much you believe in the Constitution while they're stifling my freedom of speech. So again, please think about this and change your image. Now, I'm not doing this because I want you to become president. I'm doing this because I genuinely like you. I really do. I think that you speak from the heart, and I find that quite refreshing. Okay? So I'm only doing this to help you. If you take my advice, great. If you don't, I'm sorry. That's my take on it. Okay? Well, good luck to you. Dr. Paul.